Welcome to Biz TV's Beyond the Brand. I'm Kelly Phillips. Leah Doroch is with us today. She's the founder and CEO of Perfect Care Match. Perfect Care Match is more than a home care agency. It's a movement towards stress-free, holistic home care. Leah envisions a world where no family caregiver feels alone and every senior can experience dignity, joy, and a wellness in the comfort of their own home. Stick around for more Beyond the Brand. When a loved one needs care, it can feel overwhelming. Finding someone you can trust is essential. Our next guest has dedicated her career to making that process not just easier, but better. We're joined by Leah Doroch from Perfect Care Match, a company that provides holistic, compassionate care. And Leah, it's a pleasure to have you today. And if we could just kind of start off with your background, where did you grow up? What was life like? And how did you get into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I grew up in Rhode Island, and I had a grandfather that had Alzheimer's in the 80s. And back then, it wasn't really well known how to manage the disease process. A lot of medications were used, and sometimes, things that we don't want to know about were done, like restraints and that sort of thing. And now we've come to understand the behaviors that are associated with that disease process. And we use more behavioral management, redirecting, positive, we call it in our industry, rehabilitation therapy. And so it's a lot of promoting positive emotions for the individuals that have dementia. And we've come a really long way. But as a child, it was very traumatic to me. I was young when this all happened. And so it affected my whole family. 1 in 2 people over 85 have Alzheimer's, and 1 person out of 5 that's a spouse of somebody that has Alzheimer's usually passes before that person with Alzheimer's. So, it's pretty significant, obviously, to be having this experience in my own family. And I took care of my grandmother too. When I was younger, when I was 18, she started having falls, and I was named after my grandmother. And we were very close. We lived across the street from one another. So, when it was happening, my grandfather had already passed, and that was like a really negative experience in the nursing homes. And so she was terrified to go into a nursing home. And so she and I would talk about it. And, I really wanted to support her, even though I was, planning to go to college and all of that. I wanted to be there for her. So myself and my mother, we actually took care of my grandmother until end of life in my parents' home. So 8 years she was at my parents' home, and I would go there and assist and do everything that, a caregiver would do. And I went through college, I got married, I started a career in something, very different than home care. But, it was kind of in my DNA, I guess, because here I am now after working in tech and in, manufacturing and wholesaling. So it was really kind of in my DNA to be a caregiver. And so I also had a near-death experience. I was riding a horse in 2001 where the horse reared up and fell over backwards on top of me. And it actually, stopped my heart. My dad was there, and he resuscitated me. So with that being said, I had a lot of rehabbing from that experience. I couldn't walk at first. I had problems with my spine and that sort of thing. So I had my own journey in self-care and having to get through, rehabilitation and walking right again and all of that. And it gave me a lot of compassion for people that are compromised and unable to be so, able to get out and do things that we normally do. And I had two babies at the time, so it was even more challenging. So that really opened my eyes wide to purposeful living. And I was working in tech at the time, and I was actually, talking to a lot of engineers. I was working in New York City, and it really wasn't feeling right for me. And a friend of mine said, "Well, why don't you come and work with me in assisted living?" And I said, that might interest me because of all the background I had with my grandmother and grandfather. And so I started working with an assisted living, and then I chose to try out the route of home care. My heart was all about supporting folks with dementia. And with that being said, a lot of folks with dementia really thrive better at home because it's their safe zone. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult for them to really thrive in facilities. Facilities are great, assisted livings have a lot of wonderful aspects, but home is where it's at. If somebody's been living in their home for, 60, 50, 60 years, they're going to have a better acclimation to the environment than being put into a facility with strangers. And that can be it can bring on a huge decline for somebody that is challenged with cognitive issues. So this is where my heart is at. Along with my own journey, I had post-traumatic stress from that accident, and so I had to do a lot of work for myself to have self-care and coping mechanisms, because I had a lot of fear. Like, my heart stopped once, it could stop again. I've got kids and I've got to really take care of myself. And so I did start studying meditation and yoga. I became a yoga instructor, and I studied under Deepak Chopra and 5 other physicians, Ayurveda, and I became an instructor for the Chopra through the Chopra program as a certified Chopra instructor. And I also have a board certified holistic practitioner's license. And along with that, I also am a hypnotherapist and Reiki master. And I just explored a lot for myself, but also began wanting to learn how do I become a teacher of this, because it was so effective for me. And it was interesting. I was at a presentation where it was for elderly people in brain health, and it was a panel of folks that were discussing different options for resources. And one of the resources was a physician that got up and spoke about dementia. And they were talking about things, that the brain and the neurotransmitters, and this was probably in 2011 or something. And I actually had the opportunity to speak about emotional freedom technique after that. And two elderly gentlemen came up to me very excited, because they were saying to me that EFT is something that was taught to them because they're veterans, and it helped them with their post-traumatic stress disorder. And I learned at that point, I looked into the research, and EFT actually has helped over 10,000 veterans work with their post-traumatic stress disorder. So all of these tools are so effective for all of us, and it's all natural. I never say to circumvent, medications. If you're, prescribed medications, it's important to follow your doctor's orders. But these other supplemental complementary therapies are very powerful. And so that's something that I found important to start educating on. And then I began doing a lot of teaching as I began getting my own certifications, and became, very well known in the area of meditation and brain health. I was traveling all over New England. I had a radio show for 7 years that was in 132 countries on holistic stress management, a lot of focus on families and, supporting families with holistic wellness. And, I was working for a live-in care company as their COO and acting CEO. And when I turned 50, I felt, well, I think it's time to do my own thing. And in 2019, I left that company and decided I was going to promote all of the things through health and wellness to families, and also start my own care care company that came in June of 2020, where I decided, okay, COVID's here. Families need even more support. I'm an expert in home care. So I had this integrated concept that we are going to build generational health and wellness for families while caring for the aging loved one that's declined, so that we can improve brain health, diabetes, and other, difficult diseases that a lot of our seniors are coping with and our families are coping with, and just start promoting healthier habits and lifestyles to families.
Well, Leah, we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we want to find out more about Perfect Care Match. Stick around and we'll be right back. We're back with Leah Doroch, founder and CEO of Perfect Care Match. And Leah, I've got to ask, what kind of person or background does a person have to be a good franchisee for your brand?
Yeah, so I'm looking for business partners that are connected to purposeful living, that really want to make a difference, have an interest in helping families. They don't have to be experts like me. I have, among my certifications, I've also become a certified dementia practitioner, and I also am an educator for the National Association of Dementia Practitioners. So I can actually help people get their certified dementia practitioner's license because of my license. And so wonderful things can transpire from that. Like I said, 1 in 2 people over 85 are experiencing Alzheimer's or some level of dementia. And so when you look at those statistics and the way that we're growing, the baby boomer population is aging into needing care, it's so critical that we start looking, how do we support these people and these families? So if you're purposeful, if you're looking for something purposeful and you're a business person, this is a wonderful opportunity.
As far as owning a franchise, can you kind of talk about the initial investment range that we're talking about?
Yeah, so we're looking at a franchise fee of 500. And then there's about it's around 100 to 141 to get your insurances set up, your licenses. There's a lot built into that. But my franchise is very unique. We started marketing this year, but I did work for another franchise company, at some point in my career. So I learned about, and it was a home care agency and a very large one of the big names. And so, I learned so much about franchising from that experience. And so the reason why I chose to franchise is that I wanted to get business owners that have, a real yearning to make a difference and purposeful thinking, not just somebody who's an employee, but really wants to be part of a movement and a mission, and make money too. So the investment, is a lot of time and effort, of course, because it is a home care agency. So that's a reality, but it is like, I don't feel like I'm working when I'm doing this. And so there is a 6% royalty fee on all of the sales.
Okay. And then how quickly can a franchisee be up and running? I mean, is there training involved? I would think there is because of certifications.
So they don't really have to have the certifications that I do. And so some of the things that we are helping our franchises do to launch is we are providing the operations for the first 6 months, or if they meet $500,000 in sales, then we start talking about, let's get your team set up for you. We also do all the recruiting, so we're recruiting and vetting these candidates that would be doing the care, because we have a signature system that I've created over the past 14 years it's pretty concrete and it works. So we want to keep that system in place. and really be sure that we're hiring the right people to take care of these seniors. And so that's also part of the package. And then the training on marketing, I have marketing experts, case management experts that go out and show the franchisees in their territory, how are they going to work and meet the community that they are going to be expecting referrals from. So that's all part of the package as well.
Speaking of territories, do you have certain territories that are open, that are not open? Talk about that a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, so I'm very discerning about who I want to bring into this world. I got to make sure that it's the right fit. We recently signed up. We've got our first franchisee in Florida. So the East Coast of Florida is what is handled right now. We also have Sarasota County that's going to be part of our corporate structure. So our corporate structure currently covers Maine and Massachusetts, the entire states.
Can you share a success story or a testimonial about Perfect Care Match?
Well, there's many success stories. So we do live-in care, and a lot of folks aren't really aware of what live-in care is, but it essentially is we place an experienced traveling CNA or HHA in the home of the person that we're caring for. And so that gives somebody the experience of even more than what they would have in a nursing home. So you have one person dedicated to your needs, and you're having your the monitor you 24/7, and so that's really key to finding out what is changing in diet, or if there's some problems that are happening with gait or anything, not drinking enough, any confusion. This is very proactive monitoring for getting those folks to the doctors faster. And it's very cost effective for those families having a live-in caregiver. We also have a nurse on staff, a geri psych nurse, and we have a doctor that also is involved with our agency and corporate structure.
Give us one word, if you could, that would kind of describe your journey on becoming a franchise owner.
Inspiring. I am just so inspired to help as many families as I can through this way. And I feel like I'm so fortunate and blessed to know what my purpose is and how I'm going to make a difference in a lot of people's lives.
For those watching who may be thinking, I've been through this before with my grandparents, or they had some sort of traumatic injury like you did, and are living a more purposeful life, what's the next step for them today?
Yeah, I mean, get in touch with us. We are, happy to speak to you about what your fears are of stepping into this kind of work. I've attended so many shows in the last year, meeting people all over the country, even in the Dominican Republic, and it's been so exciting talking to people about this opportunity and seeing their excitement and how they are telling me their personal stories about what's going on in their own families. So it's not something that is, hidden, or it's like they're talking about it. They want to talk about it. They want to be able to make a difference. So just getting in touch, and we're very communicative. That's what we're all about with Perfect Care Match. We're always talking to folks, and I have other people on my team that are happy to explain more about our process and how to become a franchisee.
So what's your vision for the next 5 years?
Well, my vision is really to grow across the United States. And, I have an amazing team of operations people, and, we're just growing that with more and more folks that are incredibly amazing. We have over 30,000 healthcare workers that have applied to our jobs. So we're screening and vetting every day. We want to just start, employing more folks with our organization and building a workforce that's a gold standard for caregivers caregiving. I do a lot of education. We have workshops online that are free that anyone can partake in. So if you go to my website, the agency website, you'll be able to look at those workshops. And so, yeah, we really want to help educate building generational health and wellness and provide as many seniors as we can the right care.
Okay, Leah, this is your time to brag. Give us the website, give us phone number, anything you want to give so people can find out more about your franchise.
Excellent. Yeah. So our agency level website where the workshops are and all the information on our services is perfectcarematch.com. You can text us or call us at 833-726-2824. We do have a website for our franchise opportunity as well. It's perfectcarematchcompany.com. And please take a look at me on LinkedIn. I'm under Leah Marie. You can look, Perfect Care Match Company is one of our pages. Perfect Care Match is our agency level. Come on and join us on LinkedIn, or like I said, give us a call, give us a text, send us a reach out through our websites, and we'll be happy to get in touch.
Leah, thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck to you as you continue to grow. PerfectCareMatch.com. Thanks for watching Biz TV's Beyond the Brand. Be sure to subscribe to the Biz TV YouTube channel, where you'll find full episodes of this show, a 24/7 live stream, fresh Biz TV content, and a few surprises each week to help you stay inspired.